Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Thrift Store Prepper, and today's gonna be another no cooking recipe video. So if you like these no cooking recipes, then this is gonna be another recipe that hopefully you're gonna like and enjoy. So what are we gonna be making today? Well, let's look at the ingredients we're gonna be using, and you may have seen these before if you watched the random unbagging $15 haul. These are the items we're gonna be using for today's spicy hearty stew, and it's going to be a no cook stew. So we got 2 ramen noodles, we got our sliced jalapenos and our Mexican salsa, and we're going to be using our lentils and our mixed beans combined because these are both pretty sensible products. We're getting a lot of iron, we're getting calcium from this, the mixed beans, we're getting proteins, we're getting carbohydrates, we're getting lots of good stuff, fibers as well, so when we talk about sensey prepping in sensible items, and certainly if you know someone like me who's utilizing a small space and we're micro prepping, then we want to see more numbers than zeros in the nutritional facts on your cans or whatever you may be happening to prep on. So as you can see, we're getting some calories, 220 per serving, 160 per serving on these, and that's for a 250 ml, 1 cup serving size. So there's 540 ml in each one, so there's quite a lot of weight there. And these really a little bit, nothing more than seasoning, although they do give you a little bit of vitamins and some iron, and that's about it. And ramen, good old ramen. Now I do have a couple of other items that we are going to be supplementing with this meal, and we're going to be using one of our V8s which we have in the pantry. We're going to be using a little bit of V8 Frank's Red Hot for taste. And we also have the pita breads that we picked up for $1 at the dollar store. So that's what we're going to be using to make a very hearty and thrifty, frugal meal that requires no cooking. Now, of course, I do demonstrate how you can make this meal without cooking, but you can indeed use a saucepan or a microwave if you really wanted to. But what we're doing is showing you how you can do it without the means to cook, if that is because the shit's hit the fan, the grid's down, there's no power. If maybe you're somebody who is a van dweller and lives in the back of a van and you don't really have a little kitchen setup going at the moment, this is another meal that you can make with limited space in one bag. So we are going to be using a bag to cook this in, as we always do. We don't use pots and pans, we make do with what we got, and we're going to be using, in this case, the Tong Garden Party Snack bag. Now, I did save this a long time ago and said you would be seeing it in the future, and here it is. It's reappeared, the Tong Garden Party Snack. Now, this was kind of like a bar snack or trail mix type thing. It was Asian themed, and I believe this is Thai or from Thailand or maybe Indonesia. I don't know. But it was pretty good. But what I liked mostly about it was the bag. It was incredibly durable, and I was hopefully going to be using it to make an MRE. But we're going to use it for our cooker today, and also for our storage. Once we've made the meal, we can go eat it in and it is from Thailand. I just see their product in Thailand. Sorry to distract myself or interrupt, but anyway, this is what looks like to be quite insulated on the inside, and still a little bit of seasoning left from the party snack, so that's good. It's just extra flavor. But as I said, I was going to maybe use this bag to make an MRE, but guess we'll have to get ourselves another one if we can't clean this out after the meal has been made. But this one also has the gusset at the bottom and stands up. So as this is going to be quite a hearty dish, I decided that we would use this. Now we can stand it up and put it in the back. So where are we going to go first? I'm sure you must know the drill by now with these recipes. The ramen noodle. Now, although we have one beef and one chicken, we're not actually going to use both seasoning packets. We're only going to be using one because we do want a little bit of flavor in this meal, and obviously spread out amongst all the ingredients, it won't be as salty. So we're going to crush down our ramen noodles. There's your MSAR, I can't even speak still, your ASMR effect if that happens. And yeah, we look ruined for bags. Never mind, we're going to take the seasoning packet out and toss our ramen noodle in. And there you are, some spilt ramen. And as we always say, we don't cry over anything that's spilt. We can just toss it into the bag. And there's no good crying over spilt ramen or instant mashed potatoes or anything else. So there's one. And let's go with the second one. And I think we're going to use the beef seasoning in this instance. We've done a lot of chicken seasonings later. We're going to go with the beef. And that one opened quite well. Look at that. 50-50. So let's take out the seasoning packet that will be going in. But we're not going to be putting that in just yet because we have other stuff to be putting in as well. So as you know, the V8 is going to give us our one serving of veggies, and it's going to give us a little boost of vitamins and other good stuff. And we have these two items which are pretty stacked with goodness going on. You know, nutritional value. We get plenty of vitamin iron in this. Combined for the two cans, we're going to get nearly 100% of our daily iron requirements. So that's one particularly good thing, and we're going to be getting 20, half of our protein requirements. So that's a pretty decent meal, and so far it's cost us less than $2. These were both 87 cents, and two ramens are, I guess, 40 cents because it's 5 for $1, so just over $2 maybe so far. And with the extra condiments that we're going to be putting in, maybe around $4. But this is going to be probably enough to feed probably 2 or 3 people in one serving. Or if you were living on your own, you would get maybe 2 very hearty meals, or maybe 3 stretched out meals if you needed to. So no further ado, let's get our lentils and our beans open. Now what we're going to do is, again, you know, water shortage or water supply may be in shortage, and you might only have enough water to drink with, so we're going to use the water from the can to hydrate our noodles. Now hopefully there'll be a little bit of flavor in there, maybe not too much. And I always seem to get the can opener that doesn't seem to want to open properly, so let's go around again and see if that works. Maybe we have to get something in there and prise it open. And, you know, be careful because these are sharp. We do cut fingers on things like this. And I don't know why the hell that doesn't want to open us. But hopefully we can get it enough so that we can pour out the contents into our bag. So again, you know, I say to you each and every time that you don't really need any cooking skills or talents to be able to just empty cans into bags. And again, this isn't exactly food that is going to be winning any awards or culinary certificates or likes on Instagram. So there we are, that one's empty, and I didn't say there you go. Yeah, we're getting better. So we've got our lentils in there, and there's a pretty funky smell coming off of there. It's kind of a little bit of a combination of farts and feet. So probably not going to be very pleasant to be around after eating this meal, but who cares? So let's try this way, see if this opens any easier and the last can. So, you know, we do this all in one take. We don't cut or edit the videos if we can help it, and something I've never done until now. So we may be using a little bit too much liquid. Let me have a look, see what's going on here. Now, we're going to have to try and mix this up a little bit. So, you know what, let's just pour it all in. We don't care. So that's pretty much full as it is. Now, we're going to have to do a little bit of squishing and squidging here to get stuff mixed. Maybe we should have... Oh, there we are. That's exactly what we wouldn't want to do. And what I was going to use was my prison cutting board, which we should have, could have, would have, never mind. So luckily I've got a rag, not a rag on a stick, but a rag that I can put underneath there and mop up. And before we go up any further, let's get the prison cutting board out, and here it is. So we put our prison cutting board down, and maybe we should have used a bigger item for this, or bigger container. So never mind, we've already committed. We're too late to turn back at this point. So what else has got to go in here? Let's toss our V8. That's giving us our one serving of veggies, and we're going to throw in the jalapenos, carrots, and the onions. Now maybe we are going a little bit bold on the liquid here, so I'm not sure if we can even get, there's going to be room. Wow, we're pushing this one very much to the boundaries of the safety zone. So perhaps at this point I should see if I have a larger bag or container to put it in before we get any more mishaps. Let's put the seasoning in as well. As I said, we have kind of committed to this, and I was hoping that we could have maybe closed the bag, but we can't. So let's hopefully try and get those liquids down to the bottom and hope we don't get any more spillages. So this is a little bit of a bad demonstration, and as I think I explained in the random unbagging video, I'm not exactly thinking very straight or well at the moment. I don't know, I'm a bit run down, under the weather from a busy week work schedule, and I was actually struggling to find or think of anything to make videos about this week, and was contemplating taking a week off, maybe give myself a rest and step away and come back fresh, and maybe that would have been a better idea. But never mind, as I say, we do make things up as we go along. We still have something else to put in, but not the room. And, you know, this is kind of how we demonstrate that things are, you know, don't always go to plan, and why we dive in these things straight away, and how we have to improvise is also a demonstration of purpose. Now I wonder if we take these breads out, we could utilize this bag without too much mess, and I think possibly we could. So I don't think there are any holes in there, so we're going to put this like that and put everything in there. So you can see we've changed the plan as we're going along, so it doesn't look very appetizing, I'm sure. Now I'm going to put the tong ting to the side because we're going to use that again. I'm going to try and rinse that out, and this seems a little bit better. And certainly a little bit more reminiscent to the way you would cook in prison, where most of these meals have their origins and inspiration from, although I don't think you can get lentils in the commissary, but I know you can get refried beans and chili beans. So there we are. Let's try and get the liquid or the ramen into the liquid, because we want those to be soaking up as much as we can. So there we are. We've changed our bag. Let's open it up and throw the next ingredient in, which is going to be our little Mexican salsa. And let's put that down before we get any more disasters. Excuse me. So all pretty straightforward so far, and as you said, we haven't had to use a knife, a chopping board, or a pot or a pan yet. So let's get some Frank's Red Hot going in there. Be very generous if you like it spicy like me. That's good, and there's actually a lot of vitamin C in chili, believe it or not. And we're going to add a little splash of lime juice. Lime makes everything taste a little bit better. Well, not necessarily, but it's more flavouring, so you can kind of see what we've got going on. If we can kind of mix it around the less we can in the bag, and you can see how much food is made, and you know, that is a heavy bag. I don't really want to guess how much that weighs, but desperately trying not to get any leaks or spillages going. But if you kind of just move it around like this from side to side, being very gentle, it's going to mix everything all together quite nicely. I don't know if this is doing it for you who say that you experience the MSR effect from my videos, but squishing stuff around sometimes seems to be one of those things. So, and the good thing about this is I can also get any big parts of ramen noodle that haven't quite crushed up and squish those down a little bit more. And that does smell quite, I don't really want to say rancid, but it's maybe not tantalizing the nostrils to make you want to eat, but believe you me, this will actually taste a lot better than it looks. It's pretty healthy. We've got a lot of good stuff going in there. So I think that's about as mixed up as we can get it for now. So let's give a little, if we can, get it nice and tight, and rather than tie a knot, look, we've got that little thing we can utilize. So that's going on there. Now we do have our bread that we're going to have to try and find something to keep them in, but let's not worry too much about that at the moment. So let's see what we got going on in the tong tin. Have we got any remnants of anything in there? Yeah, a little bit. So I will actually wash that out. Give my hand a little bit of a clean, and look what we have here, some of our hand sanitizer. So I'll give a healthy splosh of that while our stew is stewing in the bag. So as I say, this doesn't look very appealing to the eye. I am very aware of that. But we're utilizing things that we have in our pantry. We're utilizing a bag that we were going to toss out to cook in, and midway through this recipe we had to switch to this bag from the bag that we started with. Excuse me, I have hiccups. So, you know, there you go. Improvisation, and hopefully this still will cook us a pretty hearty and nutritious meal. And what I was going to do is have some of this nice delicious pita bread to eat with my meal. And what else I was going to do was maybe throw in some chicharrones. But what we're going to do, we do have some spice going on in there. And to the side I have another Ziploc. So what we are going to do is throw some of our fried pork rinds in here. And the reason we're not going to put them in with our stew is because they will get too soggy. But we're going to put a, I don't know, pretty decent amount in there, maybe that many. And I'm going to just try one, let you know how they taste. Oh, those are good chicharrones. I do like my pork rinds. And what else we're going to do is just throw in some more Frank's Red Hot. And I do like my dishes spicy. My stomach maybe not so much, but what we're going to kind of do is try and coat these a little bit like you may get wings or hot wings. And this is kind of going to be like a spicy pork to go with our stew. So we're going to add a little bit more lime to that. And if you've ever had chicharrones from the Mexican chicharron man, it's sometimes you might find going in your neighborhood. Certainly something I used to see a lot of when I lived in Los Angeles. This would be something you do. Put some hot sauce on, although they would use Tapatio more than Frank's Red Hot. And we're just going to cover our chicharrones very, very, very gently. So we don't want to crush them. Let's maybe shut the bag up and give them a shake. And hopefully we can get them all covered, at least a little bit covered. So maybe go just a little bit more Frank's, maybe not so much more lime, just a little bit more. And as I say, this is going to be a spicy dish, and this is purely optional. You don't have to do this. This is an extra additive that I'm going to be throwing into this meal, and this is because this will be partly my supper this evening. So let's have a little look, see what these are tasting like. Oh, yeah, that's good. So how's this coming along? Still got a little bit of crunch going on our ramen in some places. So where I can find those, I will squish them up. But that's not far from being ready. And as I say, you could quite easily throw all these items into a cooking pot and cook it up on the stove. Don't want to be spilling any at this stage, as we've come so far with minimal spillage. But you know, cooking in bags may save your life at some point in time. You don't know. And there are prisoners who will live for years and years living off ramen noodles they have cooked in various bags, be it garbage bags or sandwich bags. I'm just going to have another chicharron. And you know, this is why I try to demonstrate this style of cooking, the no cooking recipes, because you never know when you're going to be in a situation where you can't cook. So these are good skills I think I like to pass on to people. That may be things that had some people had no concept of even existed, or certainly if they've never spent any time in prison, this will be unknown knowledge to them. So you know, we're passing this on, and this is how you can make yourself inexpensive, cheap meals without having to add up the cost of your utilities. If that's something you're having to pay extra for in your rented accommodation, then saving on the utility bills and, you know, the hydro and the electricity, they can be pretty expensive and pretty pricey. And if you're someone who's living on your own, then maybe the cost of living is something that you're trying to keep to a minimum. Maybe a couple of times a week you eat a meal that you made in the bag and you didn't cook. And as I said, you know, once this is actually stewed and the ramen noodle have come to fully hydrated, you can always go and toss it in the microwave, which is a strong possibility of something I might do after we've had a little taste test. But I'm going to have a quick bite of my chicharron while we're waiting. and then we're going to do a little bit of tidying up, and hopefully it will be time to serve. So we've got plenty of chicharrones left for another time. And whether or not I finish them for enjoyment or use them in a future recipe, who knows? That is to be determined. So just cleaning up our work area a little bit and get ready to maybe start plating up. And usually at this point I do pause the video, but I'm not going to this time. We can watch it in its entirety and its duration. You can see, how long it takes to kind of prepare this meal. And certainly if you were trying to maybe boil rice on a wooden fire outside, a campfire in your mess kit or whatever cooking container you had, it would probably take a lot longer than it takes to make this no cooking recipe. I mean, it's not going to be something that's instant to eat, but you can put it together in a short amount of time. And I think we might even be very close to eating. So let me remember where I put some cutlery, and by cutlery I mean a plastic spoon. I'm going to just leave the bread to one side for a minute, and we will be going and cleaning the tong ting bag out so we can reuse it, and maybe we will use it for our MRE. So could I just pour some from the bag? I think possibly we could. So it is a little bit soupy, but it doesn't really matter. That's just going to add, and we may have jumped the gun a little bit and served this a little early. The ramen noodles seem a little bit hard still, so we're going to leave this there, clip it back up, hopefully that's not going to leak, and we're just going to put that to the side. I'm sure we'll leave it somewhat in view. And the other thing we're going to do is toss our little spicy chicharrones, porks in there, and we're just going to toss that bag. We're not going to save those. And with some bread, we're going to fold it up and maybe rip it up like this, and there you have it. There's our little spicy hearty ramen stew with a side of chicharrones or spicy pork and pita bread. So let's move the camera a little bit and try and do a taste test. So let me just stir this around and try not to catch any mess. And there's my battery low notification. So after this one, I'm probably going to have to put my phone on charge while this is uploading. So yeah, the ramen are still a little bit hard. That's not to worry. Usually we do use hot water from the tap, but in this case we used the water from the cans, and we added extra liquid with the V8, which is giving us a portion of veggies in with our meal. So giving that a little bit of a mix round, you can see we've got all sorts of stuff going on in here. We've got the green chilies, and there's a little bit of carrot there that come in the jalapeno. Let's get a little bit of a close-up. You can see the beans and the lentils there, and the chicharrones. So why don't we take a little piece of the bread and get a little bit, see if we can get a bit of everything on there, and eat with our hands. And I'll be honest with you, that's pretty good. And obviously I should say these things because I am making these and hoping maybe this will inspire some of you people who do watch these videos to make it for yourself. But really and truly, let's get a little spoonful and see if you can get a little bit of everything. It really isn't bad at all. So yeah, that's a pretty good meal. And the chilies certainly do add a little bit of a kick to this. And I can only imagine that if you heated this up, it would be even better. Let's try well, that's definitely not cooked. But let's try a couple of chicharrones in with this. And the chicharrones do taste good in there. And certainly gives it a little bit of a crunch. Oh, and the spice. So yeah, I'm enjoying this meal. It's a very, very filling meal. When you look how much we have left for around $3 or $4, you could certainly feed yourself for 2 or 3 days with this, or certainly feed more than one person with all that you have going on there. And certainly in an emergency situation, this would be quite a pleasant meal to eat. So really can't think of much else to say about this. And I actually think I will go and microwave it once I finished recording, and put the rest of this in the fridge for leftovers. And you know, like I said, you have a meal there for another day, or 2 meals for another day, or certainly enough to give you seconds after you've finished here if you want some. So there you go, we've made ourselves another no-cook recipe. It's a very filling dish. I might just add those chicharrones right into the stew, and what we have left there will continue to soak up all those juices into the ramen noodle. And as I said, this is a relatively healthy and nutritious meal. We're going to get a lot of our requirements from the beans and the lentils. We're getting some extra calories and fat from the chicharrones, and you know, bread's bread. What can I tell you about it? So you know, you kind of make a little taco maybe. Let's get one and put it in. And please excuse me eating with my fingers, but sometimes food you eat with the hands is the best. So although this dish does smell, or did at one point smell, like feet and fat, so I'm trying to talk with my mouth full. I really should have more manners, but you don't want to hear me chewing. But yes, as I was saying, this meal, when it was in the bag, it probably does still smell like feet and fat if I were to open it up and stick my nose in. Actually tastes quite good, and I will, you know, I will admit there is very much a Mexican kind of flavor, certainly with the chilies and the limes and the beans going on. In the V8 obviously gives it that kind of like tomatoey soup flavor. So it looks disgusting, it doesn't look appetizing, tastes better than it looks, and is going to certainly fill you up and give you a lot of goodness. So let me know if you like this video by hitting the like button, or maybe even leaving a comment in the section below. And if you're feeling brave yourself, why not try this at the weekend or the next available opportunity where you have some free time and you're lost for something to do. Make yourself a stew in a bag. So this has been a shit video production for the Thrift Store Prepper. Catch you next time.